Hey there, thank you for joining me for today's practice. My name is Paula. So today's sequence is really great if you've been sitting at a computer all day, but if you're just experiencing a bit of tightness in the upper body, then this is also an excellent practice. We will work through a bit of mobilising and releasing through the upper body as well as a little bit of strengthening, but we'll also just include the whole body in some of it as well. So we're going to make a start in our child's pose. Make sure you're nice and comfortable. And we're going to start with the knees and the feet hip distance apart and just sit back towards the heels and stretch the arms forward. If it feels comfortable to bring the forehead down to the mat, you can do that, or you can just allow the head to be slightly hovering off, ears in line with the upper arms. Just finding the breath. Thinking about the tailbone reaching back in between the feet. And starting to take a few deeper breaths here. As you inhale, lengthening out through both sides of the waist. As you exhale, reach the tailbone down towards the mat. Let's take one more deep breath in stillness. And then taking an inhale, as you exhale, shift the weight into the hands and C-curve through the spine, shifting the weight forward and then arching through the spine at the top as you take an inhale, shifting the hips back. Repeating that, exhale, C-curve through the spine, shifting the weight forward, and then inhale to arch, sitting the hips back. And we'll just continue just with that simple pattern of C-curving and arching, taking your own time. Spreading into the fingers. And then let's just take last one, sitting back towards the heels. And then shift the weight forward back into the hands, finding your tabletop position. We're just going to take a figure eight with the hips. So we're going to shift the hips back towards the right heel and then hips go over to the left and then shift the weight to the right hand as you take the right hip back. So we're just figure eighting with the hips. So hips going to the right, to the left, shift the weight forward into the hands and then repeat. Thinking about the sides of the body, spreading into all 10 knuckles of the hands. And if it feels okay, you might be able to include the neck and the upper body in this action. So you're just starting to allow the whole spine to move as fluidly as you can here. And then we're going to change the direction. So we're going to take the hips back towards the left heel, over to the right, and then repeat. And then for a few rounds, you might just want to focus on the hips with this action. But if it feels available, you're going to start to include the head. And the head is moving in the opposite direction to the hips. And don't worry if it feels a little bit confusing. Just try to move in a way that makes your body feel good. Keeping the breath open. And then last one, shifting the weight forward into the hands, just bringing those wrists underneath the shoulders. And then for a moment, let's take the back of the right hand, placing it down onto the mat. Just stretching the front of the wrists. And then swapping it around, right hand down, back of the left hand onto the mat. Find the breath. And then both hands down. Coming down onto the elbows, walk your hands a little bit further forward. So hands about shoulder distance apart or a little bit narrower if you can. If your forehead can come and rest down to the mat, please feel free to bring that down. I'm trying to seal the palms of hands together. Hips staying over the knees. Find that long, smooth breath. Trying to draw the navel and the sides of the waist in towards the spine as you exhale. Just allowing that sternum to release down towards the mat.
Just noticing that sensation in the shoulder area. Thinking about the armpits wrapping in to face one another. And if this gets too strong, then you can come out of it a little bit and come back up. But if it's possible, just staying here for another few breaths. Just noticing if there's any space that starts to open up. Just 2 more full breaths. And then starting to walk those elbows back, coming back up onto the hands for a moment, inhaling. And then as you exhale, shifting the weight forward into the hands to come all the way down onto your front. And then we're going to come back onto the elbows. So walk your elbows forward. And then we're aiming to bring the elbows as close together as you can. Just see how you go. They might not get too close. Feet can stay hip distance apart. Just a little bit of activity through the legs so they're not completely relaxed. And then starting to release the head down towards the mat. So you should feel a bit of opening through the outer edge of the armpits into the upper arms, down into the upper sides of the torso. And slow down your breathing. Tuning your focus inwards to notice if there's any little pockets of space that start to open up. Let's take one more full breath here. And then bringing the head back up, trying to straighten those arms, release the arms so they're shoulder distance apart, and walk your hands forward. Feet can stay hip distance apart. Relax the forehead down for a moment. Activate through the legs so that the kneecaps come off the mat. And then we're going to take an inhale, trying to keep the upper arms alongside the ears. As you exhale, squeeze the elbows down into your cactus arms, and then take an inhale, bring the arms back up, and then exhale to lower. And we're going to do that again. Take an inhale to come up. Exhale, squeeze the elbows back. Inhale to extend, and exhale to lower. And again. Inhale to lift. Exhale, draw it back. Keep pressing down through the tops of the feet. Inhale to extend. Exhale to lower. Let's go 3 more like that. Lift. Squeeze the elbows back. Extend the arms. And lower. And 2. Lift. Squeeze the elbows back. Extend. And lower. Go 1 more. Inhaling. Exhale, inhale, and exhale. Nice work. Bring those hands underneath the shoulders, squeezing the elbows in to come into your cobra. Keep squeezing the elbows in, press down through the tops of the feet, take an inhale, and then exhale. Press back onto all fours, and then let's bring the knees together, tuck the toes under, coming into your toe stand for a moment. Just taking the left hand into the right, tips of the thumbs lightly touching. Just take a moment, let the shoulders drop away from the ears. Take the hands behind you, interlace the fingers so you have the right thumb on top. And then trying to straighten those arms, squeezing the palms of the hands together. Maybe if it's available, you might try to draw the hands down as you lift the sternum up, draw the tips of the shoulders back, maybe eyes lift. If it feels comfortable, you might even just let your head drop all the way back.
And then take an inhale, recover back up to center, trying to lengthen up through the spine. And then let's bring both hands over to the right hand side, squeezing that right elbow in towards the side of the body. And then dropping that right ear down to the right shoulder. Maybe closing down the eyes. Drawing the tip of the left shoulder away from the left ear. And then taking an inhale, bring the head back up, releasing those arms behind you, release the hands. Take the arms up, inhale, big circle, keeping those lower ribs in. And then take the hands forward, fingers pointing back towards the knees. And then C-curve through the spine. Draw the navel in as the chin tucks in. Just one full breath. And then releasing it back. Interlace the fingers behind the back, this time left thumb on top, and then just repeating that, trying to squeeze the palms of the hands together, reach the hands down, tips of the shoulders reach back, sternum lifts, maybe your head drops all the way back. Bringing the head back up, keeping the hands interlaced, try to bring the hands over to the left side of the waist, this time squeezing that left elbow in, crown of the head reaching up, inhaling, and then exhale to drop that left ear down to the left shoulder. And this time, drawing the tip of the right shoulder away from the right ear. Easy breaths. And then inhale, bring the head back up, opening the eyes if they're closed, release those hands. Once again, let's circle those arms, take an inhale to take a big circle. Shift the weight forward, fingers point back towards the knees, inhale, and then exhale to C-curve through the spine, tucking the chin in, draw the navel in, and then let's release. Coming all the way back up for a moment, and then shift the weight forward to the hands, finding your down facing dog. Separating the feet, hip distance apart, hands shoulder distance apart, feeling free to take a pedal out through the feet if you need to after being in that toe stand for a little while. And then finding your down facing dog. Sealing down through all 10 knuckles of the hands. Lengthening out through the sides of the body as the hips reach up towards the ceiling. Back of the neck is relaxed. And then walk the hands just a little bit closer if you can. So we're just shortening our down facing dog slightly. And then start to bring this right hand towards the middle. And if you can, we're going to try to hold the outside of that left calf or ankle and start to twist to the left. Looking underneath that left armpit. Keeping the breath open. Thinking about turning the right side of the body towards the left as the middle part of the back keeps pushing slightly back behind you. And then let's release that right hand and swapping it around, bringing that left hand towards the middle and then either to the outside of the calf or if you can, that right ankle. Turning the eyes to look underneath that right arm. And then let's release that left hand, finding your down facing dog, just one more full breath. And then coming down onto the knees, and sitting over to one side and opening the legs out into your wide-legged pose. Just feeling free to keep the legs a little bit more narrow. You don't have to open them up too wide. Just trying to creep up a little bit higher onto the sitting bones, pressing down through the backs of the legs, flexing through the feet. Let's extend the arms out to the side, take an inhale and then exhaling, bringing the right hand down to the right leg, left arm up and over, grounding down through that left sitting bone, really reaching out through the left fingers, opening up through that left side body. Eyes can look up towards the ceiling if that feels okay on your neck.
Taking an inhale. As you exhale, bring this left arm down and wrap it behind the back and then turning down to look towards the right thigh. Keeping that left shoulder peeling open and drawing the tip of the left shoulder away from the left ear. And let's bring the left arm back up and over for a moment, taking an inhale, staying for the exhale, and then inhale, coming back upright and going to the other side. So taking that left hand down to the left leg, right arm comes up and over, grounding down through that right sitting bone, eyes looking up towards the ceiling. Just muscles at the base of the neck trying to relax away from the ears. Check in with your breathing. And then let's wrap this right arm behind you, just reaching for that inner left thigh, heading that direction, turning the eyes to look down towards that left thigh. Continue to peel open that right shoulder, tip of the right shoulder drawing away from the right ear. And then let's bring that right arm back up and over. Once again, palm facing down, one full breath. And then on the next inhale, coming back upright. And then when you're ready, bringing the hands forward and just starting to come forward to where you can. And you might stay upright, that's completely fine. But if it's available, you might start to come a little bit further forward, maybe down to your forearms, or maybe you can continue to keep going all the way down. Just keep the toes and the knees pointing up towards the ceiling. Just feeling into the inner thighs. Just noticing if there's some space to just let go a little bit more here. Maybe that letting go is not necessarily in the inner thighs, it might be in the shoulders or the jaw. So where can you soften? And then let's walk the hands back up, using the hands underneath the thighs, bringing the legs together, and then making sure that you've got enough room to come down onto your back and setting up to have your Savasana. It's extending the legs out long, letting the feet fall away from one another, arms away from the body, palms facing up. Closing down the eyes. Just taking a few deeper breaths, maybe exhaling out through the mouth. Completely surrendering the weight of the body. Allowing yourself to come to rest for the next few minutes.
Please feel free to stay resting here for as long as you would like to. Thank you so much for taking the time to practice today. Namaste.